Good to go.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here. Welcome to this Quick Start Basics. Tonight is core number 7, attend a weekly core training. So that's what you're doing tonight. We welcome you, and I'd like to acknowledge all the people for coming on and being here. We're real excited to be with you. Our goal is to equip and empower and entertain and educate you on the basics of network marketing. Like no one else in this profession is really doing. This is quite a unique training. I'm learning more and more the more that I get on here. I'm just deeply touched by the uniqueness and the depth of this, and also the people who are jumping ranks using this material. But our goal is to teach you how to build a strong and profitable business. I would like to welcome our new members, Kitty Baker, who is on tonight, and Mary Warner. And I would also like to congratulate Liz Dickerson for receiving an honorable mention tonight on her company's call. And Liz has recently jumped a rank herself, and so has David Roeder, who was, and both of you have spoken recently with tips for us, so thank you so much for that. And I also want to acknowledge Linda Jo Westrick, who also reached a new rank recently. So even though she may or may not make it on tonight due to her travels, we want to welcome and congratulate her too. So we know that this is working. You guys are testimony. This is actually, you're putting it into action. So we're so proud of you, and we're so happy to hear your results. If anybody else has got a success, large or small, we'd like to hear that either on these calls or on the Facebook group. So, or private messages, whichever way, let us know so we can brag about you and we can help other members to learn about you too. But right now, we'd like to invite you to grab a pen and paper so that you can know what's coming up. MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. That is Monday through Friday at noon Eastern Time on that Facebook group, the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. And this is where you can pop in and have lunch and have mental lunch at the same time. You can bring friends. A lot of people are sharing with their friends. They're bringing people into the group like crazy and sharing it on other network marketing groups so people can watch that live. This is about leadership, this show. It is a free show, and in addition to that one, of course, we teach a deeper inner circle class within the school on Wednesday nights called the MLM Leadership University, and a good number of you are members of that class as well. And if you'd like information about that, especially our new members, just go ahead and private message me and can inform you about the MLM Leadership University, which is every Wednesday night within this school for a select group of students who have joined that class, and you could be one if you want, and that is at 9 p.m. Eastern Time every Wednesday. On both of those, both that class and this one, we shut off the camera about 90 minutes in after you've already been loaded up with a lot of great information. We turn off the camera, and that's the time for open coaching questions, as well as for you to share your insights and your takeaways too. So that is our leadership. Those are our two leadership classes, the one free and the one within the school. On Tuesday at 3 p.m. Facebook Live, we also teach, Jeff and I also teach an aspect of the 10 core. We teach one of the principles of network marketing, so you can hop on and learn more about that too, and that's also free and welcome to everyone. Those two Facebook Lives at the noon Eastern Time and the Tuesday 3 p.m. are great ones to bring friends to and invite your team members to, so that we're there for you. We just completed the Launch Free Enterprise event here in Indianapolis this weekend. It was incredible. It was dynamite. It blew our socks off. It blew mine and other people's socks off. You can catch some of that replay on Brandy Pember's or Jeff Gamble's page. Brandy Pember and Jeff Gamble. I think Brandy covered on her page, she covered a lot of Friday, and today on Jeffrey David Gamble's page, you can see some wonderful goal setting and achievement. It's called the achievement section of this event. So I hope you guys can catch that. It was really good. I know some of you were on, and thank you for that. So for the new people here, I'll just introduce us a little bit. Jeffrey David Gamble of My Leadership Network, also certified John Maxwell trainer and coach, which is very wonderful for teaching the leadership part. Jeff has personally recruited over 500 people frontline in network marketing, built 2 teams of over 5,000, and his teams have produced over 10 million in sales. Jeff is a person to listen to because you should, if you're going to get a network marketing coach, you should follow somebody who's done what you want to do and who is going to tell you the truth about it, not biased to any company or any set method. You can trust. That's one reason I love working with Jeff. You can trust what he says to be the best thing for you, not for a company, not for anyone else. And he shares his methods that have led him to the great success in the fastest, easiest, shortest way possible. So that is what he has distilled down and teaches in this 10 core. So grab pen and paper, because if you're new, you'll see why an avalanche of information is going to come your way. We do recommend that you attend these every week when you can, watch the replays when you can't, and then repeat that. Repeat it over and over again, because repetition is the mother of skills and of learning. Each time you complete a series of 10 shows or their replays, we have a certificate for you to honor you on that level. We actually have 4 levels of certificates, which covers and expresses the training over a year. So whenever you've completed all 10 of any level, the first one, second, third, or fourth, just private message me, and I'll make sure you get a certificate for that, and to acknowledge you within the MLM Millionaire Club. So take notes like you were not only going to apply this to your own life, but as though you were going to teach it to people. My story, coach for network marketers, also called the shrink of MLM, was full-time network marketer for years. My company quit, went out of business. I became a body-mind therapist, which I left for my own personal growth and to help people, and I bring this back to network marketers. So 30 years of experience as a coach and body-mind therapist, several years full-time network marketer, now dedicated totally to generic coaching and teaching, and my calling is to help network marketers. I bring all the therapy back to network marketers to help them break through the negative beliefs and the mindset and the fears that get in the way of doing everything that you're about to learn tonight. Together, I met Jeff 4 years ago on Eric Worre's page. We teamed up because we were drawn to learn more about each other. I found out Jeff's method. I asked him to help teach in the school, to teach his methods in the school that I already had going for network marketers, MLM Millionaire Club. They generously did that, and we realized, well, we're going to be teaching together. So we partnered to bring you this generic training, the Quick Start Basics, here every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Our purpose is to help people grow, to educate, empower, and equip entrepreneurs, and create independent servant leaders. We really want to raise the bar in this profession. So this is compatible with your company. If you find any difference, follow your company. Your company's policies, as long as it's a good one. We're here to help you build a team and lay a good foundation, make money, and do all the important stuff that you need to do in network marketing. The 10 core commitments: getting started right, be here a year from now, which is about commitment, personal development, market daily, present daily, attend a weekly presentation, attend a weekly core training like you're doing, attend a monthly regional, attend all company conventions, and have a monthly action plan. So that's just a quick overview of that. It includes all the skills and the mindset in network marketing. Every time I hear this, I get a deeper layer, even though it's been 7 months or so that we've been teaching this. So we invite you to open your ears and eyes, grab your pen and paper, take notes, and we will have the questions and answers afterward. And over to you, Jeff.
Do you want to share anything about the weekend, what you got out of it, what the importance?
Sure. The weekend was the Launch Free Enterprise Summit, and that is about business owner and money mindset and language. Jeff started off on Friday night opening our minds about what money is. Is there a finite amount of money, or is it a kind of a concept that is fluid and in flux? And actually, there is no limit. You know, if you're like many people, you might have thought there's a limit to how much money there is in the world, and that only so many people can use or divvy it up. But I learned a whole new paradigm, or expanded my paradigm that I had about how money is created, distributed, controlled, and my commitment to, I call it the matrix. I call it the, we can be moved and manipulated by many forces, and I want to be free of that. I want to be an entrepreneur, which I am, and I have been for most of my life. I want to know the rules of the game out there to play them to my best advantage. I want to be in control of my life. I want to have freedom, and we learn ways of how we can do that, including getting the money in network marketing, but not just sitting with that, learning to invest that, and the different options that are out there, which I'm still learning. We also covered, let's see, what I personally got out of it was we actually covered very deeply the 10 core commitments during this training, and we covered mindset, how we think about money. Is it negative or positive associations with that? What are the negative sayings that you remember hearing about money growing up, like money's the root of all evil, it's only money, rich people are greedy? So a lot of times these sayings and negative programming that we got as kids stop us from making money, because we don't want to be unpopular with people who judge. If we judge rich people, you're probably not going to be one, because you won't want to be judged. You won't want to lose your friends. And if your parents thought, like mine, you know, like my mom, she would call rich people, oh, they're filthy rich. Well, then as a kid, I don't want to be rich because I don't want my mommy to not love me, right? So that can get in our programming and affect how, make an unconscious ceiling as to how much we'll let ourselves grow in network marketing or in any business. Because we might have a paradigm, well, I can only let myself earn so much, and then I'm going to be outside of my comfort zone, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want to lose my friends, and I don't want to lose my mom's love, and I don't want to be called one of those filthy rich people, so I better only earn, you know, $8,000 a month or $4,000 a month in network marketing, and I better not let myself dream too big or have those, you know, bigger goals or bigger actions that will actually work. So what we do is we will sabotage ourselves to make sure that we stay, well, I call it in the crab pot, because a bunch of crabs in a pot, even though they're getting prepared for cooking, if one of them starts to try to crawl out, you know what they do? You heard that story. The other crabs reach out and pull it back in, either because they all want it to be the same, or they don't want that. They think that crab's going to escape, and you know, we know it's in the pot, right? But we don't know what's out there, so don't go out there. So don't get into network marketing. Don't do something crazy and new. You know, you're going to lose your money. Don't go big in network marketing. People won't like you. Who knows what being rich is like? We know what being poor is like, or just getting by. So let's stay with what's familiar. Don't go do something unfamiliar. Get back here in the pot with us. You know, oh, you're crazy for doing that. So there's a tendency of people to pull in to keep people the same, even within our own minds, to not go outside of our own comfort zone, because it's scary out there. Don't know what's out there. I know what's in here, even though we're going to get cooked. Or maybe the crabs know that or not, I don't know. Or maybe because it's crowded in there, so probably not comfortable in that pot. Sure, you want to get out. But, you know, we even tell ourselves we're our own crab peers, pulling our mind, pulling ourselves back into it. So we covered mindset and the fears and negative beliefs that can prevent you from going forward. We also expanded our wants, our goals today. This morning we covered 100 goals in 10 areas that Jeff designed. A lot of you watched along and commented along with us today on the Facebook Live. So you can find that on Jeff Gamble's page. You can see that a few people started to enter into some of their goals too. But when you do that, when you write your goals and what you would like in life, just pretend that there's no limits. When you write down your goals, forget the limits. Oh, I shouldn't want that. I can't want that. I can't have that. I'll never be able to reach that. Just write down what you really, really want. And that helps you to pull yourself out of the crap pot towards something greater. If you don't want something, you're not going to get it. If you don't think you deserve it, if you don't even have the creative vision to set a goal, of course you're not going to reach it. So like we were talking about, if you like, I would like a economy efficient hybrid, maybe partly electric car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start shopping and driving some so that I can see myself in this car. Or if you want a bigger, better house, have you visited, have you toured a bigger, better house? Do you let yourself dream if you want to travel to Egypt? Have you rather than tell yourself, oh, I shouldn't want that, I can never have that, so forget it, Well, let yourself dream. Let yourself watch some videos and go there in your mind, or explore, or read books, or get travel videos. Go there at least by video so that you can begin to see yourself there. Let's see, what else did we cover today? The achievement. A lot of people said that they got out of it the principles that they learned this weekend about could apply to network marketing, but also could apply to any business. Other people got the mindset, the busting through of the mindset. We also did a breakthrough coaching session or two, and one fellow mentioned that the things that he heard, he realized he was not alone anymore. The things that he heard, especially like on Friday night about money and the system and how things work, he thought he was the only crazy one thinking like that. So he found company in like-minded people. After the breakthrough session last night, the same fellow also commented, yes, I've been through that negative programming from my folks too, and now I feel not so alone. Everybody has had dysfunction in their past because all families are dysfunctional to some degree. And we want to become, when we become aware of that, and we can step out of that, we can actually rewrite our programming. Because the bad news is it was learned, but the good news is it was learned, so that means you can unlearn it and you can retrain it. That is my commitment. That is really my specialty, and what I am focusing on, especially right now, is helping network marketers to overcome that. So, shall we go into what next?
Yeah. What we'll do is get this started.
Okay.
Just close space here.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is, guys, we're going to rock out the 10 core here real quick. Getting people started is number one. So there's 10 things you got to know. I'm actually going to invite others. Get here. Q&A section. That's not what I wanted. Where'd it go? ID meeting? No. I don't know where it is. Dial in. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to turn off this show the dial pad. *8. I know people are coming in and coming out, but the chimes, I don't know, they just get to me. So I just went ahead and turned those off. So for those of you who are here, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. And what I want to do is I'm going to go into a little bit about the 10 core and why this is important. The main reason why this is important is there's 100 million people inside of direct sales and network marketing. 100 million. currently right now. 70% of people never receive a single training, phone call. Most of them never talk to anybody ever again. And maybe you are in that situation, and what I can tell you is you're not alone. 70 million people are in that situation. 30% of the organization, or the industry, I shouldn't say the organization, the industry of direct sales, receive some training, but it's, it's all over the place. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. Some of it's accurate, some of it's not. I actually did a training on the 6 biggest lies told in network marketing. And that's not to say that the industry is negative by any means, or that there's all these problems. But there are some issues with network marketing, and that's what I try to clear up, just so you can have an understanding of, to be able to see clearly. Because here's what I found, is some companies' training doesn't teach you how to build the business. What it does is it indoctrinates you just to stay in and keep buying. Stay in and keep buying, stay in and keep buying. It's inspirational. I don't know if you've ever been to those seminars where they parade somebody across and they're like, yay! And then they tell their story about how hard it was and how they get there, and they got there, and now they have everything. And you get done, and you're like, okay, that's awesome, but how did they do it? They never said how they did it. They never trained me on anything. I'm inspired. I'm fired up. I'm excited, but you didn't give me anything to work with that I can go do. I'm just supposed to talk to more people. Well, I've been talking to people, and that hasn't been working. So let me give you some stuff that works. And that's kind of what my goal was, is not necessarily to untrain you from what they're training you. It's just to give you some stuff that works, period. And Bess kind of mentioned that not only does this stuff work inside of direct sales, but it works inside of traditional business. So my background is, I got started in network marketing when I was 17. So obviously I did not know how to do this when I was 17. I didn't have any prior experience in doing this. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have a list of contacts. I didn't have any experience in business. So I started at zero. Actually, I started at negative several things back, because I didn't have anything going for me at all. In fact, I was kind of one of those troubled kids that didn't get along with people. I was in trouble a lot, so I had a bad attitude and a bad reputation. Bad reputation meaning I didn't follow directions. I got in trouble a lot. I wasn't there to hurt anybody specifically, except some of my friends. We played, sports and martial arts and things like that, so we did end up hurting each other. But that was skateboarding and things like that. It was just sports related, not malicious in any means. But I wanted to succeed. I don't know if you've ever wanted to succeed really bad. Hey, Lisa's with us. Hello. I don't know if you've ever wanted to succeed really bad. I really wanted to make this work. I really wanted to make this happen, but I started getting mad because I started, going to meetings and they wouldn't tell me what they were doing. Or worse, they started saying things that were conflicting with the last person who said things. I don't know if you've seen that too. So that was the second thing that happened to me. Eventually what I did is I wrote it all down. The only thing I did well is I showed up. Now, I showed up for sometimes the wrong reason. I showed up to make fun of things. I showed up upset. I showed up and brought drama into the meeting because I would bring my problems and life into the meeting, and I'd be thinking about that instead of thinking about what you should be thinking about. I've actually done that inside of church too. I don't know if you've ever been thinking about something totally off and then they like point at you or something. I went to a small church and they would ask, well, Jeff, what do you think of that? And I was like, I'll be real honest, I wasn't paying attention. I know I should be like focused on what we're supposed to be focused on, but I wasn't. And I had ADHD, but I finally got it right. I started showing up long enough that I started taking notes, and then what I did is I started comparing the notes, and I was like, oh wow, there's things that people are saying that are similar. They might be doing it in a different way. And here's what I finally got. I came up with these 10 things. I didn't come up with them, but they were actually shown to me by people in the industry that had built massive organizations, people who had built organizations of over 1 million people. And the reason I liked that is I'm like, if you've built an organization over 1 million people, not only does it work, not only does it duplicate, but I also looked for things that stood the test of time. I looked for people who were training things that 40 years ago they were saying it, and they're still saying it today. It still works today. It's the same stuff. And here's what I found. The principles stay the same, but the technology or delivery system can change. Meaning, obviously, they weren't Facebooking people 40 years ago, but if you use the language that they were using 40 years ago on Facebook, it still works. So here's number one. Number one is getting started right. How do you get started right? Here's what I was taught in the industry. They said, you want to get in. And I was like, okay, I've done that. I signed up. I have a computer number. And typically that's how it works inside of direct sales, depending on what company you're in. You get a computer number, and you get a website, right? And some people do, I find people do one of two things. They go to the website, get frustrated, and they're like, this is stupid, and they never learn anything about it. Or they go to the website and they read every single page, and they try to become knowledgeable about everything about the website, which is not really going to help them build at all. And then they're like, I know every page on the website. I'm like, congratulations. But I just knew that I was in because I had a website. So that's the first thing is you want to get in. The second thing is you want to get active. You want to get active. Now, active is different in every business. But most businesses, you have to either order a certain amount or be on an auto ship or sell a certain amount to be active in your system. You want to find out what active means. If you don't know what active means inside your company or system, after this is done or later this week, instant message me, text message me, find me on Facebook, find me inside the MLM Millionaire Club group that you were entered into. Find me, and I'll help you find that. I'll help you figure out that information. That doesn't cost you anything. It's just, hey, I'll look it up, and we'll figure out how to get you active in your system. What does that mean? And you want the definition of being active. The third thing is you want to get paid and promoted. You want to unlock the comp plan. That's a way that some people say it. You want to unlock the commission chart. You want to unlock the coded bonuses. I mean, there's all kinds of things. But there is a first level of getting paid and promoted, and watch this. Paid and promoted off of building a team. Yes, I know you can buy a widget and sell a widget, and there's retail, and that's fine. And there's lots of businesses where you can make retail. But I want to show you how to get paid about building a team. I've known people who have been in their company for a decade, 10 years, and they've sold product and they've made pretty decent money. They've done house parties and company parties and corporate parties, and they've rented out booth spaces and all this different stuff, and they've made money. Sometimes really good money, And what I mean by really good money is, if you make $1,000 in a weekend, part-time, I think that's pretty good. But they've never recruited a single person. And I was like, so you've done all this for a decade, you've made great money, sometimes not so great money, but you've never recruited anybody? They said, no. And I said, well, you've never been taught the philosophy of recruiting, and I'll show you that. So my rule of thumb is I'm out there to educate people on what I do. And the reason why is the contact and method and by which that I do this, I learned from real estate. And in real estate, if I say, hey, guys, do you know what real estate is? There's probably not a person on this call that does not know what real estate is. So there's really no education that has to take place about real estate. So if I asked everybody on this call, because I am a realtor, I would say, hey, if Tracy or Kitty or David or Jim or Lisa happen to be, and the reason I'm reading off their names is because their names are actually here. I can see them. The other ones are just phone numbers. I name you off here in a minute. I know Doris was on here a little while ago, and Dr. Chris, I heard him, and Becky, Sherry. So I'd heard all these different people, but I'm just looking at the names that are there. If I said, hey, do me a huge favor. This is what I learned in real estate. Hey, do me a huge favor. This is a question. Do you have someone that you refer business to, real estate-wise? If somebody wants to buy or somebody wants to sell or somebody wants to invest, do you have someone that you refer business to? And if they said no, I would say, can I be that person? Now, doesn't that make sense? That's easy. It's simple. And that's what I was taught in real estate. And when I was taught that, I started thinking about how we were doing this in network marketing. I thought about the contact inside of network marketing and how I didn't like it. Because I was taught to contact a couple different ways. The first way I was taught to contact was the curiosity approach. They're like, don't tell them nothing. Don't tell them. Make a curiosity. Hey, I heard about something. I heard about something. I want to meet you to talk about it, but I can't give you any details. I'm like, I don't know what neighborhood you came from, but that sounds like a drug deal to me. I'm like, I have friends that have called me and like, hey, I need to meet you. I'm like, no, I'm not meeting you. Like, I know the reputation you have. And you might not have that reputation. That's what I'm saying. But the curiosity approach, there's a couple things I didn't like about it. First of all, I didn't like anything about it. The second thing I didn't like about it, besides anything, was I was like, why would I want to deceive the people that I'm actually trying to recruit. Like, that didn't make any sense to me. And they're like, well, they're going to prejudge it. And I'm like, they're not going to prejudge it when you don't tell them what it is? I'm like, they're probably prejudging you already, that you don't know, don't understand, or aren't clear, or you're trying to hide something. I'm like, that does not make any sense to me. I'm sorry. But I was taught that method, and here's the thing. I got in front of over 300 people the first year. From the age of 17 into the age of 18, I actually was able to present to over 300 people using the curiosity approach. The reason I was able to do that is because I was stupid and I didn't know any better. And what I mean by I was stupid, I was ignorant to the fact that I was doing a lot of work. I didn't understand that that was not a lot of, I was like, this doesn't seem to be a lot of work. And here's why I didn't think it was a lot of work, because I wasn't getting any results. Because when you're 17 using the curiosity approach, hey, I need to talk to you about something, I kind of approached it sort of like, hey, you're older than I am, you know more than I do, I've got a question about something, and I wanted to talk to you about it. And people say, sure. I said, well, can I come over or swing by? And this were my friends' parents, or these were my school teachers. I asked a couple of my school teachers. I actually showed everybody my senior year that was in school. And, you know, they were kind of like, oh, okay, you know, that dumb thing. And most of them were negative, and most of them were negative not only because of what it was, but they were mostly negative because I wasn't direct and I just didn't tell them what it was. And I was like, if we're in direct, think about it, you're in direct sales and you're using an indirect approach. I was like, that's funny to me. Now it's really funny because now I understand the difference. But I got in front of a lot of people. The second approach that I was taught, and I don't know if you've been taught this approach too, is be excited about an opportunity. Specifically, I was told to be excited about a business opportunity. So then I went out there on the everybody needs to own and have a business opportunity, and basically I should have just given people hammers and told them to smack me with it, because I got more negativity from that than anything. It took me a while to finally figure out that when you approach people with a business opportunity and you've never been in business, they basically automatically assume the worst. They automatically assume the worst. Don't you automatically assume the worst when somebody's like, you know what, I've quit my job and I'm going to be a musician? You're like, oh no, oh goodness, no, please no. Let me try to talk you out of that. And I don't know if you've ever approached somebody and they've tried to talk you out of it. But for years I used the wrong technique. I used this technique and people tried to talk to me. Then I thought it'd be a good idea to mix the two, like be curiosity approach about a business opportunity. That worked horrible too. So I learned all this different stuff, and eventually I learned this technique in real estate, and I was like, you know what? The reason why this isn't working is because they're telling me in the beginning just to go share, and anybody can share, and then the other flip side of it is they're telling me all these techniques to sell, because eventually I got real sales training, and what I mean by real sales training is I got trained like Lucian and Tom Hopkins and, you know, some of the top sales, Brian Tracy. I got trained in real estate by some of the top salespeople. And what I realized is true. Inside of network marketing is true. Inside of everywhere is true. Only about 5% of people are really, really good at sales. But here's what I knew instinctively. But everybody can share. Everybody can share and everybody can educate. Because if you're smart in what you do, and every single person here is kind of smart and an expert in something they do. Some of you have raised kids. I don't have any kids, so you could give me like hours of lessons on what to do and what not to do. And I'm just going to pick on Jim here for a second. A, because he's a friend, and B, because I know he's, you know, raised bees. Like bumblebees, and he actually has created honey. I mean, he could probably give us a seminar. And I know this because I put up something and I was like, oh, this is really cool about bees. And he's like, actually, that's not such a good idea. And he gave me some reasons. I was like, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. That's awesome. Everybody's smart on something. Everybody can educate, especially if you have what you're supposed to say in front of you. So I was like, let's put two and two together here. If we can create a philosophy to get information in front of people the right way, I think people can knock this out of the park. So I experimented a while and finally got this narrowed down to a contact that worked 100% of the time. And that's how Bess and I first started talking. And she was like, hey, I've got these 39 different ways to contact people. And here's how to overcome all the objections. And I was like, that's awesome. I have one contact and I get no objections.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, that can't be true. You know, I mean, she didn't say that, but I'm sure she thought that can't be true, because I've talked to people and they're like, there's no way that's true. And there's no way, after I told it to them, there's no way that'll work. That can't work. And I said, why don't you run this against every scenario you possibly can? Run it against somebody old. Run it against somebody young. Run it against every nationality. Run it against every background. Run it against male to female. Run it against male to male, male to female, female to male. Run it against a group. And what I mean by is experiment with it in every single way possible, and it still works. And here's the basic contact. It's in the book, Always Get a Yes, which you should have already received. If you haven't received it yet, this is in the book. Word for word, it says, can you do me a favor? I want to share with you what I'm working on. So if you run into the right person, you can refer them to me. And what you have to do is you have to understand the psychology of what I just said. Here's the objective. There's 3 objectives of what I'm trying to accomplish. The first objective of what I'm trying to accomplish is I want them to understand what I do and how I do it so they can refer business to me. Is anywhere in that contact does it say, I want you to get in business with me? No. Anywhere in that contact does it say, I've got a great product and I'm going to try to ram it down your throat and you better buy it? No. It doesn't say that. What it does is it opens the door and says, I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you want to do it. I don't care if you love direct sales. I'm not asking any of that. I just want you to understand it so you can refer me if you run across the right person. Now, they could be like, well, I don't know anybody like that. And I said, well, I haven't even told you who I'm looking for. Right? And they're like, oh, I guess that's true. Who are you looking for? I said, have you ever met one of those people that you just told me you don't like that call you and try to pitch you business opportunities? Oh, yeah, those people call me all the time. That's who I'm looking for. Oh, I know tons of people like that. Awesome. So the first outcome that I'm looking for, the first outcome I'm really looking for is a positive experience. I'll be real honest. I wanted this to be a positive experience. I hated prospecting people the curiosity way. I hated prospecting people, you know, in the business opportunity way when I was getting fired back all these rejections and, you know, all these dumb questions. I wanted to make this easy and simple. I wanted to actually enjoy the process. That was the first thing. And I wanted other people to enjoy the process. So when I started saying, hey, do me a huge favor, I want to share with you what I'm working on now. So if you run into somebody, you can refer them to me. People were like, I mean, it was the most positive result I ever got. They're like, yeah, sure, no problem. Okay. Now, again, I still had a hard time getting with some of them because they have crazy schedules, and I don't know if you have those kind of friends that tell you sure, yes, and then you can't get a hold of them. I mean, that happened, but I wasn't receiving any of the negative stuff I got before. You know, I did get from some of the people that I contacted, you're not in one of those dumb things again, are you? And I would say, yeah, man, I get into those dumb things all the time. I mean, the last one I made $250,000 with. And they'd be like, what? I was like, oh, you didn't hear that? You just heard that I was in this dumb thing and you shouldn't call. Yeah, I made a lot of money with that, but I'm actually not looking for you to get in, and I'm not looking for you to buy anything. I just want to show you what I am doing, because you might be able to, in your business, in your profession, you're probably going to run across people. You might be able to refer them to me, and I'll try to help you the same way if they were a real estate agent or something like that. So that's the philosophy. The best thing was a positive result. The thing that I was looking for was a referral. That's the first thing I was looking for. I was wanting out of the conversation, I was wanting a referral. The second thing I was looking for was a customer. And the third thing, the best, totally the best case scenario, the most optimum, is I was looking for a recruit. Now here's what's crazy. If you open the door the right way, and if you present in a way that is educational, not sales, here's what I found. People started telling me, they're like, hey, this sounds great. Oh, really? You know, 25 minutes ago, you were probably thinking I was trying to sell you a bag of, you know, garbage. And now all of a sudden you think it's great. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. You know, that's how I mean, people were leaning in. And when people start leaning in and they start paying attention and their body language is open, now this is when I was in front of them. Over the phone, they started going, oh, yeah, I know. You're right, yeah. Some people were just dead silent. Okay. And some people would try to cut me off. They'd be like, oh, I'm not interested in things like this. I said, well, again, I just go back to what I said in the beginning. I'm not trying to recruit you. I wanted to share this with you so if you run into somebody, you can refer them to me. Oh, okay. Because the industry has gotten such a bad name of people trying to pitch people the wrong way, I've had to say that 2 or 3 times, and it's hard for people to believe that you're actually going to present to them and not try to twist their arm and get them to join in the end. At the end, when I wrap up and I say, so these are the people, this is the timing, and this is everything we do, I say, so now that you know what I do, would you be able to refer me if you ran into somebody? And people are like, yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, that totally. And I said, well, I have one more question. Now that you've seen everything, you said yes to certain things. Do you have any other interest in the product or service, depending on what you sell, or the opportunity that we have? Do you have any other interest? Well, yeah, kind of. I said, okay. Can I get you some information on which one, the product or the compensation or both? Do you see where now a video makes total sense? Now I can remove myself. I gave you an education on who we are and what we are. It is an overview. 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. I made a limit, 15 minutes max. Because if you're saying anything more than 15 minutes, you're not giving people an overview, you're trying to sell them. When you hear me present the opportunity, people are like, man, you just told me what it was. You just told me how it worked. You just told me when it started. You didn't try to get me in. You just told me what it was and how it worked and when it started and the people that are involved. I'm okay with that. I don't feel like you're trying to get me. Okay, great. So you'd refer me. Yes. Do you have any other interest? Yeah. How exactly? Where's the product made? What are the ingredients? Is it non-GMO? Is it non-metal? Is it non-aluminum? Is it do they work on plants? Do they work on animals? Do they work on my car? Can I use it indoor, outdoor, 50 below? People will ask you all those different kinds of questions. What are the ingredients? They're sitting there chowing on a Big Mac and eating fries and drinking, a 32-ounce Diet Coke, and now all of a sudden they're so concerned about the ingredients in your health product. I'm like, yeah, you're a picture of health, and you're super concerned about health issues. And I'm kind of making fun of the situation, but I've had that happen. People have looked at me, what's in that? They're 80 to 100 pounds overweight, and then they grab my protein shake. Well, what's in your protein shake? Let me see what's in this, because there's certain ingredients that I'm concerned about. I was like, yeah, you're concerned about them. It looks like you've consumed most of them. I'm kind of making fun of you, but I'm not. So if you're laughing, the point was for you to laugh, because I've literally had people do that. But at the end, now I've presented to somebody. So I make a list of people. When you get started right, I make a list of 10 people. I help people make a list of 10 people. So if you're getting started right for the first time, here's the goal. Make a list of 10 people. Use the contact, can you do me a favor? I want to share with you what I'm doing now, outside of staying home, outside of, doing your full-time job, outside of whatever. So if, keywords, so if you run into the right person, you can refer them to me. 99% of the time, I've gotten, sure, okay. Now, if they're free and available, so if you text message this, a lot of people will ask the question right away, well, what did you get into? What are you doing? What's happening? Is it one of those things? I mean, those aren't bad questions. Those are just, they're like opening the door. Can you talk right now? Here's my other rule, because I have some rules about this. If I can't show you everything, I'll show you nothing. If I can't give a full presentation that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, I show them nothing. I'm like, you don't have time right now? No problem. When's a good time? When do you have 15 minutes? Because I know it's going to take 15 minutes. When do you have 15 minutes? Make a list of 10, present to the 10 people, ask those questions at the end. What were the 3 questions again? You now see what we do. You could probably refer me. Would you refer me? Yes. Do you have any other interest in either the product or the compensation? Now, if they stop you halfway through and start asking you a bunch of questions, it's obvious that they're interested. Your job is not to take out the product and take it out and, put it on a scale and cut it apart and whip out the brochure and go online and send them forth. You just send them the video that goes over the product. It's kind of, here's the thing. the more disinterested you are, the better usually it works. Why? Because people can feel commission breath, right? You kind of look like a vampire stalking them, you know, and it kind of sounds like you're stalking them, and at the end, they're like, you know, you're trying to bite people. That's weird. Don't do that. It's almost like be almost disinterested. Oh, cool. Yeah, you're interested? Yeah, sure, I'll get you the information. What's better? And then I'll text them over the website. And I say, look, I really want to introduce you to a friend of mine. They're like, okay, cool. So that's the first thing. Get in, get active, get paid and promoted. If I can show 10 people, I can show them a path that's positive. I can get them moving in the right direction. And most likely, if you take me with you, obviously, if you took me with you and we did that, if you put me in front of 10 people, depending on who the 10 people are, do they have jobs? Do they have careers? What is their income level? Where are they from? I mean, there's a lot of parameters that go into that. So I can't say every single time it's worked. But typically, if you get me in front of 10 people, I will find you somebody. If you get me in front of another 10, typically we'll find another person. If you get me in front of 40 people, I usually can find somebody too. There are some cases where people have to go for a while. Why? Because the level quality of people that some people start out with, that they hang out with on a normal basis, is not real good. You know, if we had to list people on a scale of 1 to 10, I had to go through over 300 people before I realized, hey, the group of people I'm hanging out with isn't really good. I mean, it took me 300 to figure that out. I have other people that are like, I could have figured that out in 10 seconds. So here's the second. The second is be here a year from now. That's obvious. You need to make a commitment level that this is going to be something you're going to do. Now, the commitment level to be here a year from now for training basically also means you'd be here a year from now in your company. 3, the third thing, personal development. We are on a path of personal development. The idea is the more you grow, the more you'll grow your business. The more you grow, the more you'll grow your business. Why? Because we're in a business of attraction. We're in the business of attraction. It doesn't mean you have to be like physically glamorous attractive, but attractive on the inside. The qualities, here's the thing, it's all the qualities that people can't see that will make you succeed or mess you up. 4, market daily. I don't want to go into the whole details, but we're going to show you how to market daily. We're going to show you how to market daily externally and internally. Externally means we're going to market to people who've never heard about what we do. In fact, we want to take a couple people each day and set up a time to talk to them. That's marketing. We also want to keep in touch with the people we have shown it to who said, yeah, I'll help refer you. Say, cool, can we put you into our Facebook group, or can we put you on our email campaign? Can I keep in touch with you, keep you updated? Yeah, sure. So every 10 days, I want to send out some kind of positive, non-salesy message. It could be just a quote, like a quote from John Maxwell, "Everything worthwhile is uphill," by John Maxwell. Send. People are like, oh, that's a really cool quote. The idea is to staying in touch and staying in front. 5, present daily. We want to present every single day. In fact, that's what I'm going to talk about tonight about core training, is the number of times you present and what happens when you present a lot. You know, how it compounds over time. 6, attend a weekly business briefing, open house, meeting. What else do they call those? Opportunity meeting. So I've heard them call it an open. I've heard them call it a briefing. I've heard them call an open opportunity meeting. I've heard them call a launch. Some people call them a tea party. I'm just kidding. I don't know what they call them. It doesn't matter what they call them. It's basically a corporate overview. Corporate. What is the difference between a corporate overview and the presentation I was talking about? The presentation I was talking about was very limited information. It was basically covering the 5 areas: the company, the need in the marketplace, the product, the compensation, and the timing. It was covering 5 areas and about 5 things in each area. So it was like anywhere between 20 to 25 different points. A corporate overview is usually 45 minutes to an hour long. I've seen corporate overviews go for 2 to 2.5, almost 3 hours. Personally, that doesn't seem real attractive to me, but it all depends on who's speaking and how good they are. I've seen them work, and people are like, man, this was long. It was good, but it was long. I would rather people say, I want more information than I got too much. That's just me. But that's attend a briefing or an open house weekly. Now, if you can't attend one live, meaning you're not in a hotel meeting room or you're not at a conference center, attend one online. Somebody's doing a overview, and pick one of the biggest, best, baddest people in your industry, somebody you respect, you like, you want their income, you want their money, and study that presentation. Study how they open. What do they say when they first start? Study their mannerisms. Study the volume at which they speak. Some people are like, man, you talk kind of loud. I'm like, you should see my mom. My mom's a school teacher, so she had to talk over the top of 30 to 35 kids for almost 4 decades. She taught inside the school system for 38.5 years. Guess what I picked up how to do by accident? The same thing. My friends were like, hey, your mom wants you. I was like, oh, did she call? They're like, no, we can hear her screaming through like 12 houses to our house. Like, I was just near the front door and I heard her screaming. Well, where's she? No, she's probably inside your house asking. I mean, she had that kind of volume. And obviously you don't have to scream at people, but you understand there's a different volume, there's a different speed, and there's a different energy level. I can kind of talk really slow, but have you ever known somebody to talk slow but they can talk intensely? Does that make sense? Dave, what's happening? I already muted you. You're good. So is this making sense? Yes, good. 7, core training. We're going to talk about that more. But basically, you always want to show up. You always want to be on time. You always want to have a good attitude. There's a commitment level here, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, but you want to hear this over and over again. 8, regional. You want to go to a monthly regional. If there is not a regional near you, you need to find one somehow. A regional event is basically in the region you're in. A region is like 4 to 5 hours. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. But basically you can drive there, go to the meeting, and come back on the same day, even though it may be a pain in the butt. That's a regional event. It's great if it's local, but sometimes they're just not local. I live in Indiana. A lot of the companies, one of the last companies that I was in, their regional event was in Chicago monthly. So I had to go to Chicago. That was 3.5 hours to 4 hours one way. No problem. You're good, Dave. So that's 8. 9 is you want to attend all conventions. Conventions usually is put on, that's a weekend event, meaning it's Friday, it's Saturday, it's Sunday. The difference between a regional and a convention is multiple days, and a regional is basically one day. It might be all day, but it's just one day. The last thing is develop a map, a massive action plan. Every single month, you want to look at this list of stuff, and you want to sit down with somebody who knows what they're doing. Sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's a mentor, sometimes it's somebody in your company, sometimes it's somebody outside your company, and you be like, this is what I'm trying to get done. And they'll go over each piece of this with you, and the objective is what are you succeeding at? What do you get? What are you doing well? What are you not doing? And why are you not doing it? And figuring out why you're not doing it. And if you want to know, if you want one of the best people I found to figure that out and help people figure it out is Bess. You know, she's sitting beside me. I might be too strong. I might be too obnoxious. I might be too loud. You might not relate to me, and that's fine. But what I found is with working with Bess is we kind of hit both sides. I say some things that make a point, and people are like, man, that's really good. But this guy is a jerk, and I don't like him, so I'm not going to ask him questions. They ask Bess questions. Sometimes Bess gives information, and people are like, you know, that was great information, but I don't relate to that personality real well. I need it, like, stronger. I need it driven home. She didn't give me really the answer that I wanted. She supported me. So I'm going to talk to you. So Bess and I aren't in competition. We just want you to succeed. That's it. You know, we're not trying to say I'm better, she's better. That's not the goal. The goal is we work together and we fill in where each other do not relate to people. So that's what we're about. So that is the first half of the 10 core. Hopefully you guys got a lot out, maybe got some notes, maybe got some things going on. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn this back over to Bess for a couple minutes, and then we're going to come in and hit this number 7, 8, whatever.
7, yeah.
7.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a little more light here.
Oh, there we go.
So what Jeff gave you with the method, the favor method, and the script that is in your Always Get a Yes book on pages 5 to 12. And your Always Get a Yes book is in every single email that I send out to you. So just look on your email, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the Always Get a Yes book, and click on that. It's easy to find in your email. If you can't open or anything, let me know, but it should be real easy to open. So you can review that. It tells how the favor script. It tells how to do a 10-minute presentation. There's another link in every email too with even more instruction with the video that Jeff made. And you can scroll down, you can see the follow-up, you know, to ask people how to, you know, give you a referral, or might be interested yourself in the product, the business, or both, and how to follow up with the video or third-party call. So that's all in the book. Please message us if you have any questions. We really want you to use this. You guys have gold. That is just gold. It can save you years of frustration and everything. So you learn from the people who have been through the learning curve and distilled it down for you. Never has it ever been easier in network marketing with tools like this. Oh my gosh, and with social media the way it is, and with people needing an answer in this economy, it's you can go probably 10 times faster than when I was doing it full time, and I didn't have any of this stuff. And we even had to buy products and stock it ourselves and ship it ourselves. Believe it or not, now you can order it right from the company, have it shipped to the person. But and we didn't have the social media, and certainly I didn't have the favor method that you just heard or remember tonight. So in a little bit, I'm going to talk about maybe what could hold you back from using these things. But take note. You have the tools in your hand, and a little bit I'll share about what else you need to go along with that, which is belief in yourself, okay, and your mindset, and we'll take a look at that in a little bit. First, I'd like to welcome Becky and Adrienne, who popped on after we did our welcomes. We're real glad you're here, and I'll turn it back over to you, Jeff.
Awesome, guys. So I hope you're getting a lot out of this. Let's talk about this 7th core commitment, core training. You know, why do you show up here every week? You know, why do you want to make this commitment? You tell people that you're out building your business and that you're serious about it. And when you're out telling people that you're out there and you're serious about it, you're going to make it happen, you're going to do this, and then all of a sudden, you know, Tuesday night or Thursday night or whenever night your business opportunity is, you tell them, hey, you know, you're committed, and then all of a sudden they find that you're at home watching TV, or they find that you're on Facebook, you know, going out to eat, or they find that you're out doing something else. Literally what you're telling them and the universe is I am not serious. I am not committed. And the moment you do that, what ends up happening is it is harder overall. It's like the universe starts conspiring against you because it's challenging your do you really want this or not? And here's what you say. You're like, you know what? It's not really that important. I don't have to be at every one. Like that's not that important. And what I would say is you're absolutely 1,000% wrong. You're 1,000% wrong. You're not a little wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And let me give you the reason why. As a professional, can you skip training? I mean, let's look at it from like a high-end professional, super high-end professional. Can doctors not go get their continuing ed and keep their license? No. No. In fact, they can't get their license. Not only do they have to show up, but they have to pass the tests and the quizzes and all that. Thank goodness, because I don't want them opening up my head going, I think I remember this chapter. You know, that's not going to work out real well for anybody. You know, they cut on your foot or your knee, or, you know, we've got a friend that has new lungs. You don't want somebody guessing on that. You want somebody who absolutely positively knows. And isn't it funny that the people who have the most stressful, structured training plan where they have to be there, they get paid a lot of money, don't they? You know, if you skip continuing education as an attorney or you skip it as a CPA, what happens? Holy mackerel. I'm here. Here, we'll figure out how to set that up. That work? Okay. Look into the light, Clarice. No, I'm kidding. Bess just brought this really cool light. I need one that, like, clips onto stuff. That would help, too. Do you have one that clips? Does it clip?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Oh, I was just kidding. I didn't know that. Oh, that is cool. See, here's the light she got. It looks like something out of a spacecraft. You know, this is what we're going to be selling on the next. No, just messing around. Dave can see it, but nobody else. So
we're starting an MLM on it.
There's a new MLM on lights. No, I'm kidding. So this Core 7, what you're trying to do is professionals. What I'm saying is professionals have a commitment level that others don't. If you want to be in professional sports, you can't skip the training. You can't skip it. You have to be there, or what they'll do is they'll cut you from the team. I mean, can you imagine college? Can you imagine at the college level being like, yeah, I want to be on the basketball team. I can play basketball. Let's say you're talented. I can play basketball. I know this stuff, Jeff. I sat down, I wrote down the 10 core, and I memorized it last time. Okay, great. Have you taught it to anybody? Do you have 100 people on your team? Have you recruited 100 people? Not yet. Okay, well, once you recruit 100 people, they're going to ask, well, what do I do? And you say, look, I just sat in this training. So what you're also doing is you're showing the newest person that even though you might get it, you might have to stay for somebody else's benefit. And that's not a fun thing. It's just the way it is. So what I found is not only did I want to show up, not only did I want to be on time, not only did I want to have the commitment, but like the friend of mine who taught me this has said, you want to be that rock. You want to be that foundation that other people can count on. They can count on you. They can count on you being there every week. So that way, if they have a question, they can ask you. If they have a new prospect, they can come up to you. Well, what happens if you don't have anybody on your team? Then be that person for someone else until you're ready to build. You are that person for someone else. That's the long-term thinking. That's long-term thinking, right? I'm going to be here, period, permanently. And I made the commitment. I told my team, I was like, look, not only am I going to be here, I'm going to be here. Like, the only reason I'm not going to show up is I'm either a coma or dead. Like, if I don't show up, don't call my house. Check the morgue. Like, I wasn't kidding. I was like, I'm serious. That is how serious I am about this. And whether it was a snowstorm or an ice storm or a tornado warning, like, I still showed up. And people like, you went out in that weather? You know, trees were blowing by and this, that, and the other thing. I said, yeah, I was there. I was there. Now, there's a funny story about, you know, there was a pastor of a church, and he kept teaching, and at the very end of every sermon, there was this one guy who walked up every single time, and was like, you know what, I'm so glad you said that, because so-and-so in the fourth row needed to hear it. No matter what he said, he always pointed at somebody in the congregation that needed to hear it, although he wasn't hearing it. And finally, they had this giant snowstorm. And the pastor wasn't even going to go in, but he's like, you know what, I better open the church just in case somebody comes and their car breaks down. You know, we have to be able to open up so that way they can stay warm. So he goes, you know, fights the snow, fights the blizzard, gets there, shovels just one aisle all the way up the walk so that way people can get in the door. And when you know it, this one guy who always is pointing at everybody else, is there and shows up. So he specifically does this sermon just for this guy to point out, you know, sometimes you have to look deep inside yourself to figure out. And, you know, at the end, the pastor was kind of crying and this guy was crying. And the pastor's like, yes, he finally gets it. I finally broken through. He finally understands. The guy walks up with tears in his eyes and says, you know what, Pastor, that was the best speech you've ever said in your life. And I'm so sad all the people who really needed to hear it weren't here. So some people don't get it even though they're there every day. My point is if you're here every day, your commitment level's at a certain point where you start trusting yourself that your commitment level is so strong that other people can count on you. And here's the thing. If you want to be a leader in this industry, people have to count on you. People have to know you're going to be there. Because if they don't know you're going to be there, what happens? Then their belief is shattered. Then their confidence is shattered, and they don't perform at the same level. But when they know you're going to be there no matter what, when you tell people, hey, this is what's going to happen, and you show up no matter what, it's funny to me. It's actually insane to me, really, that we will sit and we will promote online that we have leaders inside of our companies that make 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 700,000, a million, 2 million, several million. You know, I know a guy who's made $58 million or $400 million in the industry, and we'll be like, oh my gosh, this is the best business ever. They have millions and millions of dollars. And then all of a sudden our job that makes $7 or $8 or $10 an hour is like, hey, you need to work on Tuesday night on the night of your meeting, and you skip it because you're more concerned about your $10 than you are the big opportunity you were just running your mouth about. My thing is you'll show up. I've known people who have shown up to a job sick. I've known people who've shown up to their job with cancer. Literally, they have cancer. They have cancer running through their body. They're on chemotherapy. They have the port right here, and I know exactly where it is because they wanted to do one on me when I had cancer and I was in and out of the hospital. And people will go to work like that. People go to work with the flu, 101-degree temperature, throwing up all weekend. They'll still show up to work. Why? Because there's an attendance thing at work that if you don't show up, you could possibly lose your job. But then people will get home and be like, well, it's kind of cold out. You know, I mean, Sunday there's the football game. And here's the thing. Yeah, Sunday's football. Next week, guess what? Guess what we're competing against? We're competing against the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. So we have one or two choices. We can not do it, which I never do, or we could do it early. That would be another option because don't we do, like, normally we do a noon show. So we could do a noon show and knock this out at noon, and then everybody could watch the replay. But here's the thing. I'm committed to doing it no matter what. That's just how I am. Now, I'm smart enough to realize most people are going to be watching a game. So I'm not insane to think that everybody would jump on during a game. I know that they won't. You know, I know that you want to be at some people are going to be at parties. Even if you don't watch the game, you want to go to the party to meet everybody and see everybody. I want to do it. I'm not against that. I'm not saying that this is the only thing that you do. And here's the real reason. I don't want to watch, I could care less the football game, but I want to watch what? I want to watch the commercials. I don't know about you. I love marketing. I love to watch how it all boils down, and I'll watch the marketing more than I will anything. I love the commercials. In fact, we could have a whole conversation about what's your favorite commercial. So the commitment level has to be there. You're going to have to hear this stuff over and over again, and what I can tell you is there's layers of understanding to this, and Bess, you can come on right now, and I'm going to have Bess kind of tell you the layers of understanding are much deeper than what you actually think. Right, Jim? Jim knows this, too, because he's seen it. He's kind of shaking his head here. So I'm going to turn this over to Bess, kind of the layers of understanding of why we do what we do and how we do what we do. But the question is not the question isn't, is it a good idea to commit? Because then we know. The question is why can't you commit? And there's tons of reasons. But I'm going to turn this over to Bess right now. 15.
Okay. So now that you guys have the tools, now you're golden, right? Now there's nothing standing in your way, right? You got the tools, you're going to run with it. Now you can be a 6-figure earner or 7-figure earner, whatever that you want to be. Nothing's standing in your way. Then why isn't it already happening, right? If you aren't where you want to be, then you can ask yourself, well, what's the reason? What negative programming am I, what negative belief or decision have I made that I am not willing to be responsible for? That's a good question, right? What negative decision have I made to myself, or promise have I made to myself that I am not willing to be responsible for? That means to be conscious of it and to see if it aligns with your values and be willing to change it. So a question that I like to ask my coaching clients is, what could stop you from taking this action to build your business with the tools that you were just given tonight alone? That alone has changed people's businesses. People that aren't even in this class are making headways just with the information, just hearing the favor script alone are having huge results that are not even in this class, getting the advantage of all the other 10 core commitments and stuff. So these people are getting results. What could stop you? I like to say, what could slow you down, stand in your way, or even stop you from doing everything that you want and using this to reach your goals? So a big reason that a lot of people get stuck is the skills. They weren't taught. They don't know how to say it properly or directly. And so that could stop people. But once you have the skills, then what? Because the skills will bring confidence, but also the confidence might come from other areas too, or the lack of confidence. Like, I don't deserve this, I can't do this, or I better not outdo my parents. I'm going to lose all my friends. Might take a look at the negative beliefs that you have about success. People aren't going to like me if I outdo them. That happened to Tony Robbins. He started making money and he lost a bunch of his friends because they didn't relate to him anymore. So he pulled back. He stopped making the money. Then he realized, no, you know, this is my life and this is what I want to do, and maybe I'll even make better friends if I go forward. So don't pull yourself back in the crab pot. When part of you wants to go for success, don't let the other part of you pull back. Stories, true stories. One of the members actually in the school, it was a short time ago, a bit ago, that we did a challenge. And he was one of the, I did a group challenge with about 5 people all together. And he was one of the people that did a challenge. But first, I did a mindset clearing with each one of those people before they went forward and doing their challenge, because I knew that everyone has some mindset blocks, has fears or negative beliefs that are going to sabotage them and hold them back, or that they won't have as great a results as they would if they had a cleared mindset. So we did that with every single person. That was a prerequisite that I had before they go forward and really go for it in their business. So I did that with everyone, including this fellow. And he was brave enough to face himself. It takes courage, first of all, to look back and see what the negative programmings are and be willing to change them. Because we'd rather not look at them. We'd rather not admit that we have low self-esteem. It's kind of easier not to look at them and just keep going and say, well, like Jeff said, well, it must be the company, or it must be something else, or it must be network marketing is the cause rather than me. But this fellow and other ones that I've worked with have had the courage to look at themselves and say, you know what? I was taught I don't deserve this, and I halfway believe it enough to sabotage me and enough to stop me from using this valuable lessons that you have. And I believed that I couldn't do it. I mean, my mind told me I could, but my subconscious, which was there actually, and it's more powerful than the conscious mind. The subconscious is what really, really runs us. You can know that you can connect with your subconscious through your emotions, through your dreams, and through your body. If you've got a pain in the neck, it might be telling you something. You know, that maybe your beliefs are a pain in the neck, or that your fears are you can't stomach that anymore. You get a stomach ache or anxiety or ulcer because there's this conflict in you. You want to go forward in your network marketing business, but it's pulling you back. And that's a huge conflict within the body. Often shows up in illness within the body or a pain somewhere, but definitely can show up in frustration, shame of how come other people can go forward in network marketing but I can't, or other people can walk the stage, have been in it less, you know, not as long as I have, or even my downline. So it can show up as conflict and shame, and that can cause a lot of pain that way. So what I did with this fellow is went in to his past where he heard this as a child, and we took a look and saw, well, was that true? Was this really about you, that you don't deserve success or you can't do this? Or was that really about the people who spoke it, like parents or teachers or caregivers, putting you down because they themselves didn't want you to crawl out of the crab pot or be successful, or they were just repeating the programming that was taught to them? So is it really true? There's 3 questions you can ask yourself. Was that true, that I don't deserve success, or that I can't do it, or that I'm always going to be a failure? Was that true? Number 2, how can you know that it's true or not true? And number 3, what is the truth? And so if you heard, well, you'll never be able to do that, you're too stupid to do that, you can't do that, you never do what you say you're going to do. Is that really true? And look at the times in your life when you know that's not true. And what is the truth? The truth might be that, yes, I fail sometimes. And who doesn't? And the truth is that there's room for mistakes and there's room for failures. And that I am here to learn, not to be perfect or to meet somebody else's standards or to measure up to that. I am here to learn. And that includes making mistakes, and there's room for mistakes. There's room for learning. So mom or dad, whoever told me that, I don't need to be perfect. I can learn. I can make mistakes. And guess what? Richard Branson, the billionaire, I believe, has failed in half of his financial endeavors. If I have that right. I saw Richard speak on Eric's stage, and Eric wore his stage at GoPro. And I was encouraged to learn that he failed half the time, and he still won. So we can do that too. So I worked with this fellow to get past these negative beliefs and fears, and as a result, he immediately went into his challenge, and he immediately did at least 5 to 10 new presentations a day. This was even before that he had the opportunity to learn the favor method from Jeff. So he did not even have it that easy then. But he was doing 5 to 10 presentations a day, got recognized in his company. They sat up and they looked at him and they said, "What are you doing? You know, what's happened to you?" And he just said, "It's my time." And even after the challenge was over, he continued to do 5 new presentations a day and continued to be asked to speak and asked his advice and sought after a recognized expert person in his company. Because he had the tools, we did work on we upgraded his skills, and we cleared the mindset. So that's an example of unplugging the hose, the kinked up hose that can go. It said that a mindset is 80% of success and skills is 20. You need them both, of course. You can't do it without either one. But get mad, stand up, and tell your negative programming from the past that I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't believe this anymore. It's not even true, and I'm not going to be the result of that anymore. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to rewrite my future. Forget the past. I don't need it. I don't want it. It's not even true. I'm throwing that off, and even though the future is unfamiliar, and we are scared as humans of the unfamiliar because it's outside the crab pot, I'm going to take that risk and I'm going to go because I have the company of other people along with me. I have the people in this school and in my company and my peers, my crossline, my upline, and my downline, and we're going to go for it. And if I ever get scared, I can take a look at some of the success stories. And if I ever get stuck, I know that I can call Bess. Just private message me and reach out to me if you're stuck. If you're on this call and in this school and you have not yet put this into practice, reach out to me and tell me why. Tell me what's holding you back and stopping you. And maybe I can help you there with a Facebook message or a short call, or maybe we actually do want to go into coaching sessions. I've coached a lot of people in this school who've wanted private work so that they could move forward. And I would like to acknowledge Liz Dickerson in our school, who said that she did not, she jumped a rank, and she is set up. She did not receive her honorable mention from her company tonight. She messaged me a little bit ago, but that she will. And Liz, if it's okay, I'm going to share what you messaged me on Facebook Messenger tonight. She said, without you and Jeff, I would still be stuck. That means a tremendous amount to us. That is what we're here to help you guys do, is to get unstuck and to flow forward, having the tools and making changes in your life. A lot of people in the school have already done that. But for those who are watching and you haven't yet, ask yourself, what is holding you back? And are you willing to take a look at that, and are you willing to change that? Now, there's some of you listening that are hearing the replay, and I'd like to challenge you. What stops you from getting on the live calls? You know, is it the wrong time and you've got another company call every single Sunday night? Or is it that you haven't really committed to yourself to be on here live and take advantage of the live coaching afterward? What could stop you from getting on every single one of these calls? Because our attendance is probably 1/3 to 1/4 of the total number of people in the class. And we want you all on here. We want you all active. And yes, there's family emergencies and things like that and cycles that you go through. But what could stop you from committing 100% to giving yourself to this now? To getting on here, getting the training, getting the coaching after we turn off the call, and then putting it into action. What fear, what negative belief? Just take a look at that. And like I said, you can go ahead and message me. We do have some questions here I'm going to see, or comments. I'm just going to see if those are something we need to look at. Let's see, I'm trying to bring, oh, there they are. Okay. Let's see. I'm learning to use it. Okay, any comments? Causes I want to support. Jim says, Jim sees his reasons, dream big, places I want to go, people I want to see, hobbies I want to pursue, causes I want to support. Good. And Jim was on the live today writing in some of his goals, and David was too. Camera's too high. David says, can't see your face either. I don't understand. Camera too high.
It might be before.
Might be before, yeah. Okay, any other comments? Okay. I'm going to bring this down. Oh, okay, David mentions, if it's okay to share this, what stops him is picking up the phone. Yeah, the phone weighs 2 tons sometimes, right? I work on writing down 10 names and calling those 10 people. So, David, I would suggest, yeah, you're not alone. You're so not alone. Everybody says that. I have this this cartoon of the guy who wants to call the girl, and he just sweats and agonizes and cannot pick up the phone. But it's the same thing, right? Because we fear rejection. We fear that we are in the way. We fear we're unwanted. But remember, with the favor script, it really eliminates all that. So now that you know it and you have it, try it out. See if you still have the same fears. But remember, please, that fear is selfish. Fear is attention on yourself. I recommend putting the attention on the people that you're helping, and realize that you bring goal to them. Realize that you bring on opportunities and options and a way out. Of course, they might have to face the same fears, right? Once you face yours, then you can help them face theirs. Does that help? I think we'll go ahead and move to the conversing part of the call.
I wonder if this works.
Yeah.
Oh. That's what I need it for. Okay. I just figured something out that it was actually built for. I was like, hey, we could do this. And they're like, yeah, that's why it was built. Okay. So you don't have to be smart to do this, is what I'm saying.